A young man is running from strange figures chasing him through a strange world. He ends up falling through a door in the floor and seemingly finds himself falling into Tokyo. He seems to recognize this as the world where his mother came from. The young man, Shoma, is awakened the next morning by a little boy named Hajime. Shoma's stomach growls and asks if he has anything to eat. Though Hajime says to wait for him, Shoma follows him anyway as he takes in this strange world. Shoma asks if what Hajime is holding in his hand is food. But Hajime says it's just a bag of pretty seashells he hoped to give his mother. Shoma seems sad as he thinks of his own mother. But he quickly jumps into action to save Hajime from being killed by a truck. Shoma shields Hajime, and when the truck hits him, its front shatters, ejecting the driver and passenger right out the front window. Shoma is perfectly fine though, and he is even able to grab the driver and passenger to safely set them down on the ground as they go flying. Shoma is shocked. But Hajime is also surprised that Shoma is shocked. Shoma says he just expected the truck to be a bit stronger. On the other side of town, freelance writer Karakata Hanto approaches a woman whose husband has disappeared. He shows her a crayon drawing and asks her if she saw something like this before her husband went missing. He says it's like a monster. But the woman refuses to listen to such nonsense. Hanto's mentor Shiotani approaches him and says he needs to learn how to ask questions better since monsters are just fiction to regular people. He points out though that the woman's reaction implies murder and encourages Hanto to get them a scoop. Elsewhere, a man delivers something to someone who appears to be the same as the figures who had been chasing Shoma. In exchange, he receives a small box, which he wants more of. Hajime brings Shoma to his secret base and gives him lots of delicious snacks to choose from. Hajime says he'll bring real food later. But Shoma's mind is blown when he has a first taste of gummies ever. He then gives a lollipop a taste for the first time and loves it so much. But his stomach suddenly gets a little pain and something pops out. He has no idea what it is, but he pulls his jacket up and more little things pop out of the device on his stomach. Hajime asks what they are and Shoma says perhaps they're his kenzaku, or little things that help him out. And maybe he can use them. Which is now possible, thanks to the snackies. Hajime says no offense, but he believes Shoma is not human. Especially considering he has a weird mouth on his stomach. Shoma is impressed that he knew and says that his people all have mouths, called GAVVs, on their stomachs. Hajime asks if they eat humans. Shoma says he doesn't, at least. Just then, Hajime gets a call from his father, saying his mom has already arrived. She's been working abroad and this is her first time home in a while. Shoma apologizes for keeping him and Hajime promises to bring him a meal later. Hajime also advises that if Shoma goes out, not to be conspicuous and let people know he isn't human. On the way home, Hajime catches the eye of the weird man from the transaction earlier. He opens the box given to him and takes a bite of a jelly which excites him so much. A large tongue pops out of his stomach and gobbles up the rest of it. Back at the secret base, Shoma wakes up and thinks about something his mother told him. She asked him never to eat their snacks, but did not say why. Suddenly, he sees something and quickly moves. The weird man stops Hajime and comments that he seems to be enjoying life. Hajime tries to run away from him, but the creeper follows and says that happiness is very delicious and make for even tastier dark confections. He lifts his shirt up to reveal a mouth on his stomach and his huge tongue again pops out, about to devour Hajime. Shoma zooms over and manages to save Hajime from the tongue. The creeper pulls a tooth from his stomach mouth and he turns into some kind of monster. Shoma gives Hajime his bag of shells for his mother, which he forgot at the secret base. The creeper does not understand why Shoma does not quiver in fear. Shoma reveals his stomach mouth and says that he is a granuda too. Shoma charges toward the creeper, but just gets swatted back. The creeper calls him a little shrimp. But Shoma feels a tremor in his hand and has strange memory flashes. When the creeper approaches Hajime, Shoma gets up and stops him from touching the boy. Shoma gets tossed aside again. Memories of his mother run through his mind and he questions why he is so weak. But he pushes himself to fight and says it's going to be different now. Shoma takes a punch to the face, but then delivers a big punch to the creeper. He is determined to have Hajime live a happy life with his mom. As Shoma gets punched to the ground again, the little friends appear and tell Shoma to eat him. Shoma is about to stuff the friend into his mouth. But they all tell him to use his other mouth. Shoma stands, opens the zipper on his jacket and pops the friend into his mouth driver. He cranks it up and he is able to henshin. Shoma now understands that this is the power his friends have entrusted to him. He can now better match up against the creeper. Shoma uses the little jelly friends to power himself up even more. Hajime's mother appears, terrified by the monsters. Hajime tries to tell her that Shoma isn't one, but she grabs him and takes him away. The creeper mocks Shoma, who acknowledges that the two of them are indeed monsters. But a sword pops out of Shoma's stomach and he continues to overpower his opponent. The creeper ends up hopping away. But Shoma feeds his mouth more candy and is able to bring about a vehicle for him to chase after the monster through Tokyo. The creeper says he doesn't recall any of their kind being like Shoma. Shoma gives the creeper an ultimatum. Give up the dark confections or be beaten to a pulp. The creeper refuses to give up his treats, so Shoma locks in a gummy and delivers a finishing kick. Shoma is relieved he has finally protected someone. Later, Hajime goes to the secret base, bringing food for Shoma. But instead, Hajime finds a note. Shoma thanks Hajime for saving him and giving him snacks when he was hungry. He apologizes for scaring Hajime's mother and promises to keep his identity more of a secret. Hajime wipes away tears and says Shoma should have left evidence if he wanted to be more low-key. He rips up the letter to protect his friend. While walking along, Shoma asks a gummy to turn into a motorbike for him like the one that just passed by. The gummy obliges, and Shoma rides down the street. 1 week later, a young woman finds Shoma passed out in the park.